Welcome to Kung Fu Havoc number 2 and Instagram. I do not intend on doing much more of what you just saw. So I want to talk to y'all real quick about how I personally feel about the black belt system. Now I'm 47 years old, and all throughout my life I have never been able to achieve a black belt due to quite a few obstacles. Alright? Obstacle number 1, katas. I can't retain them in my skull. So no matter how much tiger or dragon or mantis or crane or snake that I can do, I can't remember katas to get me past a test. I don't test well regardless of what kind of test it is. If it's a math test, an English test, a physical fitness test is probably about the only thing I can pass. Probably not now with this hip replacement. But you know, a kata is not a fight. When I first started learning martial arts, I was doing freestyle karate. There was no katas. There was punch, kick. This is where you hit. This is where you hit. This is where you hit. This is how you protect. Block, block. And when they got to Kung Fu, it was block, strike. When they got to Kempo, it was block, strike. When it was Wing Chun, it was block, strike. Footwork, very important. However, first off, Kung Fu doesn't even do black belts or any belt system. They usually use a sash. I don't like that system either, because a sash only gives you rank in the dojo. It doesn't give you rank out here. It's not like in the military where you're a lieutenant and then you become a higher ranking officer versus going down low to being a sergeant and then first class and all the other shit that come behind the rank. I never got out of private Pt1. So I never got any rank in the military because I wasn't in there long enough to enjoy it. Henceforth, hip replacement. Now, a lot of martial arts systems, your belt system generally starts like this. White belt, 7th degree white belt. Yellow belt, 7th degree yellow belt. This is the system that I learned in Taekwondo, so I could be wrong. So let me apologize to that right now, because every belt system is different. Some belts don't even exist in certain systems, because for the Taekwondo I was taking a Master Innocence class at the Inner Stairway. It's white, yellow, green, orange, blue, brown, red, black. 7 belts. Now honestly, I'm going to be honest, I think the belt system sucks. Because me being a white belt, never earning a 1st degree anything, have beaten lots of black belts. Not just in sparring matches, but in actual fights. So why do I need to have a black belt? Well, the myth was that you needed a 1st degree black belt to teach in anybody else's school. You needed a 5th degree black belt to teach in your own school, which I do not have, not one belt at all. Now, the belt system is a system of crap that is loaded to keep some people who are mentally and physically capable of remembering Tosan, Tungu, and Tinchayu, which was like some shit that I learned in Korean Taekwondo before Master Ennis switched to Naharate. So, Tosan. Start, block, step punch, step, step. There's some shit like that. And Tungu was the same shit, only I did a star and an ice cream scoop. So from bird's eye view, it would look like this. Doom, 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 doom. Somehow or another, you're doing the Star of David. Anyway, and that was to get your 7th degree yellow belt. Personally, yellow is my favorite color, so if I had a school, you would be achieving a yellow belt. That would be higher than your black belt and all that other shit. But I didn't break the bank in the belt system. The belt system really fucking sucks. However, just because you have a black belt does not mean you are top dog in fighting. You might be top dog in that dojo. You might be hot shit in that dojo. You might be hot shit in sports karate. But when it comes down to it, you can be a black belt, go to the UFC, and get fucked up. You could be like the great late Kimbo Slice, who doesn't have a belt, and whoop everybody's ass until you got into the UFC and totally embarrassed me. God rest his soul. There's a rumor that Kimbo is dead. I don't know if that shit's true, and if he is dead, God rest his soul. Point being made, you have a system that is designed to hold people who are really good at fighting down here, while people who are really good at katas up here. And the reason why I'm going to put it that way, and I don't give a damn if you don't like it, because I'm going to tell you the truth. If I'm a guy who's been fighting in the streets since I was 12 years old, started learning martial arts when I was 7, which made me a better and more effective fighter from the age of 7 to 12, so that's like 4 or 5 years, all right, of fighting. Like non-stop fucking fighting. Now, not I get a break. Yeah, no. My uncles and them, literally, we going over this guy's house and we're going to fight. That's it. And if you lose, you got to answer us. So losing wasn't an option because I'm really, really small. And everybody that I have to fight is really, really tall. And nothing's changed. I'm still really, really small. At 5'3.5", 120 pounds soaking wet, I'm still dangerous to you. You just don't want to believe that shit because I'm really, really small. Let me add some light to the subject so maybe y'all can see me a little bit better. Alright, hopefully you can see me. And if you can't see me, I'm sorry. I'm ghetto as hell. I got flashlights. And I'm outside because I don't want to wait all night to make this video. Plus, we don't know how long my phone or my camera is going to stay functioning. Now, the thing about martial arts is really simple. The belt system is loaded, and I believe in some schools it's really about more favoritism and how well you get along with your teacher versus your actual skills. Now, before you go judging me, let me point something out here in Charlottesville. There were like 7 martial arts studios between 1986 to 1993. I was only in one of those 7, which was the Inner Stairway. And I came in between 89, 90 to like 92, 93. Somewhere in there where I had to make a choice between going to martial arts school and paying for my car while I was in high school. Which again, in 1993, I was graduating high school, I was 19 years old, and then out came Rec, Havoc, UFC, Pride, and ISK Kickboxing. And no one had my weight class. And all of them sent me letters saying, get your weight up. Which goes back to this whole black belt system being bullshit. Alright? You have a good black belt, you bump into me and do the wrong thing, and you might be going to sleep. Notice that I use the words, you might be going to sleep. Because your black belt, it might be legit. But that doesn't mean you're going to be a better fighter than me. The second that you underestimate your opponent or overestimate your skills, you're going to sleep. You have to understand it. You're not going to win them all. But I'm one of these people that I don't give a damn if I win them all. If I'm going down, you're going with me, whether you like it or not. You're not going to get that option. So unless you got somebody behind me that's going to knock my ass out before I get my hands on you, the fight's mine. Like I said, I'm 5'3". I ain't got nothing to prove, but I like fighting. And surviving is what I fight for. I'm not fighting for no damn glorified, oh yeah, he won the fight, yeah. No, fuck all that shit. I'm fighting to make sure that I can still rumble. Alright? Because I grew up in the projects, and no matter what state or city you in, a project is a motherfucking project. You got us light-skinned cats that's always getting judged by dark-skinned cats, and because I'm mixed, I'm prime target number 1. Now, back to the subject at hand. Black belts. They're great if you're in the martial arts for sport. They're great because they earn you respect. So about these schools. When I ran out of money and I left Mr. Ennis school, Mr. Ennis asked me one thing that I would do to improve his school. He did not like my answer. And my answer was simple and honest. Let me fight for my belt. He's like, what? We don't do that. I said, and that's why I know when I leave your dojo, if I walk down my street and someone comes after me, I'm going to be able to beat their ass. Everybody else in this dojo, except for the other black people, lived in cookie-cutter homes, white picket fences, and they were pretty much there for exercise or to get into sports tournaments. Well, the Inner Stairway didn't do tournaments. Understand how this works? So after I left the Inner Stairway, I went to the International Black Center, Belt Center. I went to the 7 Tigers. I went to the 3 Emperors, but they weren't doing competitions or anything, and they didn't do belts because they did Kung Fu. where everyone else was doing karate or taekwondo. So onward I went. So everyone that I went to, with the exception of the three emperors, because like I said, they do kung fu. They didn't do karate or taekwondo, which Charlottesville was mostly karate or taekwondo. And same thing with Richmond, karate or taekwondo. There were no specific Chinese martial arts until a few years later when the Laughing Dragon came out, which I have never been there. But I've been to other schools around Virginia, and specifically Charlottesville and Richmond, and I said, yo, you have black belts. How does your black belt testing run? So their black belt testing seemed to be all the fucking same. You have to break a brick, break a board, and deal with a choreographed fight scene of 1 to 3 attackers. So you got Ghostman technique. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so I can do that. I ain't breaking no brick because I'm not breaking my hand. I'm not breaking no board because, truth be told, none of that shit's got anything to do with martial arts at all. But for some odd-ass reason, some genius in some martial arts school said, hey, I'm going to break this brick. Kia! Brick's broken. Ding, 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 ding. I got a black belt. That don't mean shit. So you gonna tell me when in the hell you gonna be in a situation where someone is literally gonna hum a brick at you from all the way over there, and you're gonna sit there, hey, yeah, and you're gonna break that fucking brick? That ain't how that shit works. I grew up in the streets. If somebody had a fucking brick, it was in their hand, and they're gonna hit you with it like this. They're gonna keep that brick in their hand until there's nothing left of that shit except for brain matter from your skull when they're bashing you up the head with that shit. And if you think that you're gonna block that shit and break that brick, well, I just became a Super Saiyan, because that shit ain't happening. You ever get hit in the head with a rock? Ever get hit in the head with a stick? You will be fast to know that it's a good way to lose consciousness by getting hit in the head with a rock or with a stick. Let's live in reality. So you want me to set a brick right here and punch down on it with the chances of me breaking my metacarpals and not being able to defend myself when I leave your dojo, or axe kicking a wooden block or punching a wooden block where I could break my metacarpals or my foot, and then if I get into trouble outside, oh yeah, I got this black belt. But that black belt only proves that I have a black belt. Understand that that black belt is just like this military belt. It holds up my pants. That's what it does. It can be a weapon if I choose to take this black belt off and tie it around your neck, you know, but then my pants might fall down. We don't want that now, do we? So, black belt system. I don't care who I piss off. I don't care what you write in my IGTV thing or my YouTube comments. I'm going to tell you the truth. What good is it if you didn't earn it by ways of combat? And here's why I say that. And again, I'm going to piss you all off, and that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but I'm going to prove to you why you should fight for your black belt. Alright? Because I've beaten black belts. I've beaten people way bigger than me that have no martial arts skills at all. But the black belts I've beaten, if you have a black belt, you literally, legit have some skills. And you should not have been beaten by a street fighter. You shouldn't even have crossed your mind of getting beaten. I lost one sparring match to a black belt. He was a black belt who later would come on to go to be an ISK champion, according to his friends. But yet, he still wouldn't face me a second time. So, maybe he's a black belt, but he's more of a coward than a black belt. And wherever you are, I ain't letting that go. No. So enjoy your ISK championship or whatever it was that you were doing up in New York. But when you talk that shit at the church and you didn't show up for the fight, you are no champion. I sat outside for fucking 7 or 8 hours waiting for this asshat. He's no champion. So, again, if I'm fighting for my belt, I got a better chance of showing you that I earned that motherfucker. You know, coming at me, boom, I drive one in. If you don't block that bitch, you missed the class. Or I'm just that good. But you want me to, let's break a brick. Let's break a board. Let's do a choreographed fight scene. Well, then take the brick and board out and let's do a choreographed fight scene. Or better yet, Let's put the person who's fighting for their belt in their gi and let everyone who they're fighting be geared up. Headgear, fist gear. The guy fighting for the belt only gets foot gear and fist gear. Maybe some shin guards. That way they'll know, that the person that they're fighting their belts for will be protected. So you get headgear, gloves, shin guards, and foot guard. This is where your training is going to come in. Because do you know how to block? Boom. Do you know how to block? Boom. Do you know how to evade? Duck, block, duck. Do you know how to return a kick? Boom. Kick. Boom. Someone's throwing around. Can you kick their round? Bam, bam. Can you do that? Because having a black belt in the dojo is great. Out here, where people don't give a damn about dojos, where people have knives, guns, sticks with nails in them, and they're coming at you on a daily basis. What good is that black belt if you earned it by doing katas and a choreographed fight scene? What good is that shit? You got a black belt, that's great. You got confidence, that's great. But that reality kicks in when you miss. When you go for a jab or a cross, which I just did, because this is a jab, this is a cross. So if you go boom, boom, and you miss, what happens if that guy blocks and punches you and drops your shit? What good is that black belt if it's not fought for? If you can't fight for your belt, you will never know how good your skills are. And I'm going to take a page out of the UFC cast, because a lot of them don't even have belts. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. Back with my day, when Randy Couture and all of them was coming up, a lot of them cats didn't have no martial arts skills at all. Now, Couture and Penn and all the other guys, they were a little bit above the rest. But a lot of guys, just kind of like when we had the Tough Man contest, the Tough Man contest exists of one style of fighting: boxing. No way in hell I would win that, because I'm not a boxer. I'm not Butterbean, except for this one thing. Butterbean wasn't a boxer either. Butterbean was a brawler. Now, the Tough Man contest came back and it said, all right, here's how this works, Mr. Williams. You can use your hands and your feet. Now I got a fighting chance, because now I can fight my fight. I don't have to fight their fight. Which is another thing a lot of martial artists aren't teaching their students. You can't use everything that you are taught in that dojo against someone who doesn't know how to fight. But you will be able to use. Well, what you don't know is simply this. There's 100 things in the martial art dojo that you are going to learn. But then, when you get outside, people don't fight. They don't take the stance and get ready. They don't do that shit. They do this. You talk your shit? Talk your shit? Come on, man. Talk your shit? Come on. They get all undressed and all this other shit that's going on. And they lay down the law. Because 30% of that shit you learned in the dojo today is going to work. That other 70%, Because first you got to be able to read your opponent. Your opponent's going to throw a jab. Boom, boom. If you see this, it's too close to my chin. I did that purposely, because your guard should never be that close to your fucking chin. Someone throwing a kick and it's coming on this side, you can block it this way, you can block it this way, you can bat it away. We about to fight, and you done broke into the crane. You done broke into the tiger, the dragon, the mantis. You done broke into shit that I recognize. I got your ass dead to rights now, because now I know you know something. But if you just stay like this, I don't know what the fuck you know. You might, boom. And I was expecting, boom. But you got a black belt. So you got overconfident. Boom, 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 boom. I done broke your shit. Because you don't know what I know. And what I know is that experience, especially fighting, will always be your teacher, no matter how many bricks you break, no matter how many boards you break. And the other thing that you should probably know that teachers are telling you, you need to be able to take a beating as good as you can give one. You don't give a beating when you earn your black belt. You might break your hand, build some calluses. You know, I'll break this board right here. Gah! I'm gonna break this brick right here. Gah! I got me a fucking black belt. I am a badass. Okay? Black belts do not make you a badass. They just make you a black belt. Now you got a little bit of skills behind you, you know. That's what that is. It is a system to build confidence and let you know that you have some skills. But here's where your skills pay off. If you go to another dojo and you get fucked up by a white belt or someone pretending to be a white belt. Alright, so earlier today I made a video and told you how much I suck at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Alright, that shit's no joke. I suck at fucking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I learned it in the Army. I do not know if it's the same shit that they teach in the civilian world. I've never been interested in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. However, I have taken Judo, and I've taken the original Jiu-Jitsu where it was a standing art before that shit the Gracies made super popular. Alright? Because the Jiu-Jitsu I took in the 80s and 90s was about locks and grabs and throws, just like Judo. Was no get on the ground, side mount, and all of that shit. That shit was kind of wrestling. It wasn't really Jiu-Jitsu in my time. Now, it became Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 95, 96, all of that shit kind of rolled into one. Wasn't my thing. I actually watched the Gracie Shamrock shit, and I was like, you know, I'm not impressed. I don't ever want to do that. Now, I'm not going to knock anybody who does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's your thing. Knock yourself out. But my shit is this. Anything that allows me to punch you or kick you while you're trying to grab me is my thing. So if you're going in and you think you're about to take me down, boom, I'm going to elbow you in your fucking spine. I'm going to end your shit. If I can't elbow you when you go in for the grab, boom, you're going to eat a knee. Is it legal? Ask me if I give a shit when we're in the streets. I don't. Because I'm not going to let you put me on that fucking ground. Here's my fight. I keep that shit standing. You might be a ground and pounder, which only does you good if you can get your opponent on the ground. You can't get your opponent on the ground. Ground and pound all you want. You got to get them there, you know. And here's another thing. I will keep this shit real with y'all as much as possible. If you're coming at me, whether it's a full-on charge or we just doing this, I'm pretty much reading you from step one. If you're bouncing on your balls of your feet, I'm reading. I'm reading your distance. I'm reading your fucking arm length. I'm reading everything that I possibly can read in 40 seconds or less. Because street fights don't last but 2 to 5 minutes. That's it. Now, sport karate, you got a time limit. You have rounds, you have a clock, you got referees. And any martial art that's involved with a paycheck or sporting event, you have those things. You have your time limit. You have your out of bounds. You have your cage. You have all the things necessary to keep it legit and sportsmanship. Where you bust my nose, they take care of me. You're turned on your knees in either this position or prayer position. You pop up. We go to our lines. They put up your flag. They give you the point. So then we get back into this fighting position. Referee blows the whistle. Boom! You know, we go at it. It's pretty much it. Trying to score a point. Now, in the real world outside of the dojo, where that 30% of what you've learned that will come into effect is really quite simple. Once we engage, it's not going to matter what we know. It's going to matter is who gets the best hit in to stop your opponent. And if you can't do that, then you're going to be in deep shit. And a lot of people are so engaged and mad in these martial arts schools about this black belt. Am I jealous that I don't have a black belt? No. I'm not jealous of I don't have a black belt because I've been learning a few things about how this fucking system works. You know, and this fucking system is just not catered to people like me. I don't test well. I can be a great fighter, but since I don't test well, I'm not going to be able to do the black belt katas, no matter what damn school I'm in. If there's a kata involved, James is going to fail. I know that. Now, if there's a fight involved and we get to gear up, I live for that shit. So I'm going to have that belt before the end of the day. And it's like, all right, let's say all schools decided to do it the James way. We're going to put you in gear. We're not going to put you in anything protective around here because it's going to limit your mobility. But we're going to put you in shoulder pads and foot pads, gloves, and headgear. And you got to have a mouthpiece and a cup just in case somebody slips up and tries to kick you in the nuts. Now then I'm going to win that shit. I'm going to win that shit hands down every motherfucking time because I have been fighting since I was 6 fucking years old. And not professionally because that shit didn't exist way back in 1976. Alright? Because I was 6 in 76. Alright? But as time got on, kid fighting didn't become a thing until like the late 80s. Like 88, 89. That's when kids competitions really started taking off. Now, they had little tinier kids, but they never had them in competitions. If they did, I missed it. But from what I know and what I remember, if that shit would have existed back then, everybody would know who the fuck I am. But no, that shit didn't exist back then. When I started taking martial arts at the age of 7, kids took martial arts as a hyped up way for you to have a babysitter. That's pretty much it. Well, my kid, I need a babysitter, put him in karate. No, that's what that shit was. No. But what they didn't know is they were teaching kids how to defend themselves. And June Reed was like the top dude back when I was like 6 or 7 years old. He wasn't my teacher, but the guy that I learned from often talked about June Reed self-defense. And that's June Ree, R-H-E-E. Go Google that motherfucker. Because back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, he was the shit. Then you too can say, nobody bothers me. Nobody bothers me either. Yeah, I remember the commercials. I got picked on by that all the time because kids kept saying that I look like that kid. Except for the problem is that kid's Chinese and I'm not. Anyway, the thing about earning your black belt. If you are not fighting for that black belt, how well is your skills? Really? Ask yourself that shit. I got a black belt, but who have I fought? Who have I fought that's not in the dojo? Have I gone to rival schools to fight other black belts? No, because that's not shit that we do these days. We don't do that shit. No. I know I'm good. Hell, I'd say I'm great. But just because I say I'm great doesn't mean any of you watching or in the sound of my voice or earshot anywhere out here in the streets of Charlottesville or Richmond or New York or Canada. Yeah, Jay's got the moves. Watch this, y'all. He got that Van Damage, man. I've been told that a couple of times. Watch this side kick. Watch this double side kick. Watch this turning round kick. Yeah, so I got the moves. But anybody can have the moves. Hell, a dancer can do that shit. But being able to put that shit off of paper to somebody's face is a whole nother ballgame. And having a black belt only feeds the beast. Now, for years, up until I started watching McDojo Life, shout out to Rob, I didn't know that I didn't have to get my hands registered. Just found that out this year. Thank you, Rob. I didn't know that I didn't have to have a black belt to open up a school. Now, I was told that a few times, but when I was in a school, schools told me something totally fucking different. So I don't know. Was that told to me as a lie? Was that told to me because there was regulations? Was that told to me because they didn't want me to be a hardcore teacher? Because I'm a strong believer, and if I'm going to teach you something, we need to make sure that shit fucking works. I don't want you to run outside, go boom, boom, and boom, and the guy just brushes that shit off like it ain't nothing. Ugh, the flies are biting today. No, when I teach you shit, I want you to go outside, and if somebody comes at you the wrong way, boom, drive that fucking shit down their throat. Yes, that's violent. Yes, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry, because if somebody's bothering you, the whole reason why people take self-defense is to keep people from bothering you. Now, again, I'm going to piss off a lot of martial artists with this shit. I don't give a shit. You got a problem, we got 2 ways we can solve it. We can talk about it, or if you meet me, I'm not going to be held responsible for what the fuck I do to you. Simple as that. I'm going to do my best to rearrange your entire physiological system. Because that way you'll understand that there are some legit motherfuckers out here, and just because you don't see us and we're not famous does not mean we don't exist. It just means that, unlike you, We were not blessed with the golden opportunities that you have had. That is exactly why nobody knows who my ass is. Nobody. Now, the 840 some of you that are here on Instagram, the 108 of you on YouTube, the 125 on TikTok, y'all know who I am. You're watching me. And I thank you, because you mean the world to me. But I'm also not going to sit here and lie to you like a lot of other people that will go to a school and do this and do that, and boom, their star shoots off, and they're the brand new thing. I've been working in this acting business for 20 years, and no one has given me an opportunity to shine. No one has given me an opportunity to put something together. And the one thing that I did have together, some asshole in Alabama has. Because they stole it from the guy who was supposed to be putting special effects in it. So yeah, that's why you guys don't know who the fuck I am. When I tried to go to the UFC when I was 19, it was, you need to get your weight up. We don't have anybody at 120 pounds and down class. As soon as I get into the Army, oh, now you guys get the 120 pounds and down. And by then, I'm 135 pounds now. And then I fucked my hip up. So now no one's going to let me into any kind of fighting fucking arena unless that shit's underground. And you don't get paid for underground fights. At least not to my knowledge. And at my age, I can't be playing with y'all young bucks. If I'm going to hit you, I'm going to try to kill you and get that shit over with. Anyway, that being said, the black belt system is arranged to make sure that the really good fighters, if you give me a complex kata, which my brain can't process, I'm not going to pass that shit. But if you tell me, beat this motherfucker up and you have a black belt, and he's a 1st degree black belt or a 5th degree black belt, now I got the desire. Now I got the determination. Now all I got to do is get into this fight with this motherfucker and wait for him to fuck up. Which if he's really good with his skills, he's not going to fuck up. And that's the thing. I'm fighting his fight. Fuck that. I'm going to make him fight my fight. He throws a jab, I'm going to get under. He throws a jab, I'm going to block it, I'm going to break his shit. Am I supposed to do that? Fuck no. But I'm fighting for my black belt. If I don't break it, I'm going to make him wish that I broke it. And why would I do that? Because here's a simple fact of life. A fight is a fight is a fight. I ain't going to win them all. But I ain't going to lose them without a fight. Understand that concept. If you're better at Wing Chun than me, I got to change my game. So you better at Wing Chun, I got to switch off the Wushu. If I can't get you at Wing Chun or Wushu, I got to switch off the Kung Fu. And if that doesn't work, I got to switch off the traditional karate. If that doesn't work, switch off the capoeira. If that doesn't work, I got to switch off the judo. I have to do something to make you fight my fight so that I know I can win. If that means I got to throw a high knee when I should have threw an elbow, then I'm going to throw a high knee. And this is the thing about that black belt system. That system is designed for people who don't really fight outside of the dojo, outside of doing it for sports, to elevate, while people who walk through bad neighborhoods like mine, not this neighborhood because this isn't that bad, but when I lived in the projects, my dojo was right up the street. And I had to walk from downtown Charlottesville over to West Haven, which any way into West Haven was horrible. I didn't have a car. No. So I had to find the classes that I could take that when I get home, you see how dark it is now? It would be about that dark when I'm coming home. So I have to make sure that my shit is straight. We had gangs in my neighborhood. I had to be ready. So when I got home, not only did I re-practice what Sensei Ennis was teaching me, but whatever sensei that has blessed me with skills, I come home and practice. Ghost Man. You name it, and I'd practice it. A little bit of the dagger, a little bit of the drunken master, going to mantis, crane. I practiced and practiced and practiced. And when I got into Mr. Ennis' school, I couldn't do kata one. Not one damn kata could I do. But every Friday and Saturday, we had freestyle sparring. Mr. Ennis hated my ass on Fridays and Saturdays. Because freestyle sparring means I don't have to follow the rules. It also means that I can actually cut loose, but with control. So tap, tap. I'm done. Then you got the Taekwondo guys that are always doing this shit. Tap, 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 tap. Okay. Perfect for show. You're only going to get one of those off in real life. I promise you. You're going to get one of them off in real life. You come against the right person who's an ace, and you're sitting here trying to show off, you're going to get one of those off. You might get both of those, but when you're constantly... you're going to get one of them off. One. And if you don't knock that person that you're fighting silly, it's over. I took Taekwondo so I could beat Taekwondo. I took Kung Fu so I could beat Kung Fu. I took Wing Chun, Wushu, and Kung Fu, and I took Karate so that I can beat people who know that shit. Same thing from Capoeira. Same thing for every style that I have taken. I've taken it so I can beat people who know it. I don't know enough of it to fucking master it. I know enough of it to recognize it and fuck a motherfucker up. You coming at me, you got your little dragon shit going, then you're gonna switch into the crane or the snake. I'm set, because I'm not going to fall into your trap, but I'm gonna lure your ass into mine. So when you come in with this strike here and I grab you, boom, that's a Kung Fu knee, boom, that's a karate knee and an elbow. I'm ending your shit before you end mine. I hope that's firecrackers. Anyway, in case it's not, I might want to speed this up because I'm not bulletproof. The bottom line is really quite simple. The belt system is the system designed for people who are more mentally and physically connected to doing the katas versus people who are actually going to get into a fucking fight and use the shit that you've been taught. You don't have to believe me because experience has been my teacher. Alright? I've beaten black belts. Beaten black belts. Easily. I've done shit black belts ain't never seen before. Can't do it out here because there's no walls and there's not enough light. But I have beaten black belts. But I don't have a black belt. So how is it possible? How is it physically, humanly possible for someone who does not have a black belt to be a black belt? It's because I fight. I know what I'm fucking doing. I'm not going to teach you something that doesn't work. Yesterday I made a video about a tree. We're going to end this with me doing that right over here at this pole and hope that I don't step in crap as I transfer y'all over here. So here's a pole. Alright. No, it's not. And you can cut it on, but right now I'm filming, so get out of my face. So here, this is a bad make because my head is right here at this pole. But if I'm fighting you and we're here and I move and you punch this pole, boom, I got you. I move and you punch this pole, boom, I got you. But this is only stage one. The real game starts when I get over here. And you can't defend me because you can't get around this pole. You come over here, boom. You come over here, boom. I got you all day with this pole. Because I got protection from this pole. So again, the black belt system is designed for people who aren't going to put fighting to good use. I don't have to worry about that problem because at 47, I shouldn't be fighting anyway. However, martial arts is my life. It is the one thing that has never let me down. It is the one person that I can count on when all else fails. It is the one thing that has never stabbed me in the back. It is the one thing that no matter what I do, no matter what I wear, I can still accomplish great things in martial arts. The only thing that has eluded me is a black belt. So sometime between now and 2023, if the good Lord lets me see 2023, I'm going to make sure that I get a black belt in some form of martial art, regardless of what it is. So I'm going to go and look and see if there are ways we can get around a few things, like breaking bricks. Because I will argue with a sensei all day. It's like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything? It has nothing to do with fighting. Usually if someone has a brick in their hand, they're intending on keeping it in their hand to beat you upside the head with it. You're not going to be able to block fast enough when someone's swinging a brick at you so that you can break the brick. And they're not going to hold the brick halfway. Hold on. This is a brick. See how I'm holding it? This is how people are going to hold it. They're not going to swing this brick like this or like this because there's a good chance it's going to fly out their hand. And you're not going to be able to block that bitch and break this motherfucker because you have a black belt, because you can break a brick. Shit's got nothing to do with martial arts at all. That was just some BS design crap to keep people like me from obtaining or achieving a goal in black belts. Real martial arts, fist, elbows, forearms, knees, feet. You're going to be using all that shit. Ground and pound, BJJ, all that shit. Again, I made a video earlier today about BJJ, which I specifically stated, you got to get me on the ground to use it. And every time you come in for a double leg takedown or a single leg takedown, you're going to eat a knee. Simple as that. You're coming at me, I know how it works. I did learn BJJ in the Army, which means I've learned how to beat you if you do BJJ. Because you can't get me on the ground, BJJ is not effective standing up. Now, unless y'all teach me something that they didn't teach me in the Army, you got to get me on the ground. So when you come down, knees coming up. Knee up, elbow down. I'm going to make sure that I hurt you before you get me to that goddamn ground. I had a friend who was in MMA, and they were fighting in a cage, and they told me that the rules were simple. I can't elbow you in the spine. I can't knee you in this area. But you can tackle me and body slam me. Not on my watch. You go for the tackle. Boom! I'm bringing my knees and my elbows into your spine and your stomach. I'm doing everything I can to incapacitate your ass in one move. Because I know I can't out-muscle you. I don't have the strength for that. Terrific. Who do you belong to, buddy? Hello. Hi. Who do you belong to? Nice talking to you. So y'all don't think I'm crazy. Hi. Nice knowing you. I just didn't want you guys to think I was crazy before I end this video. Now, the thing is, the dog distracted me, so I kind of forgot where I was. But the thing is, if I got this brick, I can almost guarantee you, I'm not going to throw this bitch at you. I'm going to keep it in my hand until I bludgeon you. Because in case everybody forgot, let me get biblical real quick. The first murder weapon that ever existed was a fucking rock. And the first person to use that rock was Cain, who killed Abel. So, kind of keep that in mind. I'm not going to punch this brick and break this son of a bitch without breaking my hand. This is an actual brick. This is literally an old school brick. Not that bitch with the 3 holes in it. This is actually an old school brick. So anything I hit with this bitch is going to be solid and it's going to cause damage. I'm not going to let you hit me with the fucking brick. Let me be right back. So again, I don't give a damn what anybody else says. And I'm sorry if I pissed off any martial artist watching this, and you do not have to agree with me, but I'm going to tell you right now. Brick breaking, board breaking, ain't got shit when somebody throwing a fist to your mouth. So you can know all the brick breaking and board breaking, and you can impress everybody with that shit. Everybody. Until someone like me comes along and punches you in the face. Then all that brick breaking and board breaking and kia chops ain't gonna be doing you shit when you laid out on the goddamn ground. Am I saying it can't happen to me? Fuck yeah, it can happen to me. If I'm unaware, if you catch me sleeping, you seen when the dog came up, I just stopped everything. So I'm pretty much aware of what goes on around me, and I don't trust anybody. I'm 5'3". When I go to a party, when I go to a club, my eyes are on the door. Because I am the biggest target when I walk in the room. This is the final thing on that. I'm the biggest target when I walk in the room because I'm 5'3". And everybody in that room wants a piece of the smallest guy in the room. And why is that? Because they think that I'm going to be a pushover. Just like many other people in the world think that us short people are going to be a pushover. So let me end it with this. Size doesn't matter to me because the bigger you are, the harder I'm going to hit you. And I'm not hitting you to play nice. I'm hitting you with bad intentions. When I hit you, I'm trying to send you to the morgue. Not the hospital, the morgue. So I'm not the guy you really want to fuck with. You know? That being said, I apologize for everybody that I've offended. I apologize for swearing. This video is clearly not for children. But the lesson being learned is really simple. The black belt system is designed to keep people who actually are good fighters down. Which is why there are katas. I suck at testing. I suck at katas. I've never been able to do a kata because I wasn't exposed to that until I took Taekwondo. Every martial art that I took before I took Taekwondo had no katas in it. It was just, here's how you punch, here's how you kick, here's where you punch and kick. Here's how you throw an elbow, here's how you throw another elbow, here's how you throw a forearm. You know, here's where your primary targets are. Chest, sternum, bladder, throat, you know, places that you're going to do some damage. How do you break an arm? And karate, it was break at the wrist. And Kempo was break at the elbow. And Kung Fu, was break at the elbow. And then the collarbone. And then strike to the throat. So it's block, break, strike. You're throwing this, you step to the outside, you're breaking, you're sliding. You're either going to go up the arm or down the arm. And so, again, if I want to do it Mantis, boom, I've broken and I've slid down. So if I slid down, I can strike under here. Or if I slid up, I can strike in the throat. And if I want to be nasty, I can grab you by the throat. You know, it all depends on who's teaching you what. But again, the black belt system sucks ass. For Kung Fu Havoc number 2, B, C, and U. For Instagram.